Hello everyone, I'm Megan Juris, and welcome back from my 2 million year hiatus from the channel, and I'm back with another episode of Ben Talks About. Now, in terms of the type of things that I could use as topics for this show, I actually had quite a few options. Should I talk about how the director of the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie said that they were going to actually listen to the fans and redo Sonic's design? Should I talk about my personal opinions on the 2 most recent Marvel movies that came out? Or should I make a video about how one of my personal favorite YouTubers seemingly just ruined his entire career over the span of like a single day? And I thought about it for a while, and I decided a lot of those topics are actually a bit too much talked about, especially on YouTube. I mean, there's not really much I could really add, I guess. But then a little trailer for a movie came out and reached quite high on trending, and that trailer sort of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I'm of course talking about the most recent inclusion of the well-beloved Terminator franchise. Yeah, after a few years without a movie in that franchise, they just suddenly decide to make a trailer for a new one. And of course, the community is not exactly happy with it. Now, I'm not exactly the biggest fan or that knowledgeable of the Terminator franchise. The only films that I've really liked are the first 3 of them. Yes, I'm one of the few people who actually kind of enjoys the 3rd movie, even though I can definitely see all the problems with it, but I don't think it's as awful as people say it is. But yeah, this new film called Terminator Dark Fate is definitely, I guess you could say, unique compared to the other Terminator films, in it that it seems like they're trying to focus less on the main characters that we've seen in the past and trying to focus on a new cast of characters. And I'm guessing that's one of the major reasons as to why people aren't really liking this sort of trailer already. But personally, I actually kind of like the trailer. I think it's actually kind of cool that they're trying to expand this sort of world that they have. That's kind of been expanded quite a lot with all the future movies in the franchise. I mean, sure, the last film that came out sort of ruined the timeline in a sense, since they pretty much did a whole bunch of time traveling and stuff. But that's kind of thing's a bit inevitable with this kind of movie franchise, I guess. But, you know, I don't see a huge problem with them trying to focus on new characters. And besides, they do have some old characters returning from the previous franchise, the previous films in the series, so I think that's okay. And while I was, of course, looking through the comments section of one of the official trailers for it, a lot of people also started to complain about the special effects of the movie, and how the CG isn't really up to snuff. And while it is true that there are times where CG can look not as great as it probably could, the first main thing about it is that this is a very early trailer. There are of course going to be more and more of these coming down the road, and there's always the idea that they're going to keep improving on the special effects. After all, you know, the whole thing with like the live-action Sonic movie, how they actually listen to the fans and the director is actually going to change Sonic's design so it fits better and makes the fans more happy, sort of makes me feel like directors are more willing to actually listen to their fans, and are willing to make certain changes to make them happy. I mean, I think that's sort of unlikely, since this is probably one of the first films that actually had that sort of event happen, but you never know. Things could happen that you don't really expect. And another major thing is that lots of people compare this film to the first 2 movies, in terms of, like, lots of people say that the first 2 movies are the only really good Terminator which is kind of objectively correct in terms of like in terms of like being good movies, but I'm the kind of person who can find enjoyment in any sort of film unless it's like so obviously a bad movie. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I sort of enjoyed the third one. But if you look back at the older movies, especially the second movie, the CG isn't really as great as most people remember. You look at scenes, you know, with the T-1000 when he's all silver, and he is quite obviously a fake character. Now, it doesn't all look bad, but the parts that that have aged, have definitely aged. I mean, they're still good movies, but I'm just saying that a lot of the effects aren't as up to snuff as lots of people say they are. And personally, I didn't really think the special effects in the new trailer were that awful. A lot of the segments actually looked kind of cool. The main thing that I sort of thought looked really cool in the trailer was the huge like chase scene that was happening where the main characters were getting chased by the new Terminator, and the new Terminator somehow like makes a clone of themselves and like spawns them in front of the truck. That effect actually looked kind of cool, and it's a new sort of ability that I guess they're trying to sort of show off like what this new Terminator can do. Which is sort of a thing that is like in every single Terminator movie, is that the main Terminator is actually has something different up their sleeve that that the audience and the characters don't really know about. You know, it all started with the T-1000 being able to like, you know, turn his arms into blades and stuff, and then there was the Lady Terminator in the third movie who had the giant arm cannon, and then there was a bunch of other stuff in the next few movies that I have no idea about, but the point is, this sort of, I like the idea that they're still trying to show off what this new Terminator can do. And overall, I can understand why certain fans would be unhappy with this trailer, especially considering the last Terminator movie that we got, which didn't really please pretty much anyone. But I always try to have faith in things that, while the fans may not be as happy, there are some people who can find some redeemable factors in, you know, these kind of movies. I think it's pretty much probably the reason why I can enjoy films like that are sort of disliked by the community, like, you know, the third Spider-Man movie, or the third Terminator movie, or the third Jurassic Park movie, or, you know, these kind of films that, you know, while the majority of people don't really like them, I, along with other people, can find some redeemable qualities in them. And I feel like this film is gonna pretty much be exactly that. It's gonna be a movie that, you know, the majority of the fans won't exactly enjoy, but there will be some redeemable factors into it. So, yeah, I guess only time will tell when we get more trailers for this movie how more and more people are going to react, whether their opinions might change or they'll still feel like their opinions are still valid. You know, only time will tell. So, I hope you all enjoyed this little episode of me talking about this trailer for the most recent Terminator movie, or the trailer for the movie. And if you saw the trailer as well and you have a certain opinion on it, make sure to tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what all your opinions are. And I hope you all enjoyed this return I have back to YouTube. Hopefully I'll be able to go back to doing weekly videos, but, you know, sometimes there are times where, like, life gets in the way, so I'm still hoping that I'll be able to do these videos at least once a week. So, again, I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, I'm Ben Contreras, and